Oops. Okay, so I need to share screen. Okay. So a few pictures for your enjoyment. This is when we had lots of snow. So about the Snow Bowl. The Snow Bowl is an alpine ski and snow sport area with a historic toboggan chute. The Snow Bowl is managed and operated by full-time Camden employees. Oh, I can't see past this, hold on. And annually staffed with approximately 80 seasonal employees and approximately 75 seasonal volunteers. The Snow Bowl is a major draw for visitors to Camden. There is also a strong mid-coast contingent that relies on and seeks out the Snow Bowl for winter recreation. The Snow Bowl budget is based on a 60-day operating season. The Snow Bowl strives to be an asset to the community in a variety of ways. We work to get as many people as possible, especially the youth, out on the slopes for a day and eventually a lifetime. Some statistics for you. We have 850 feet of lift served vertical. We have 105 acres of skiable terrain with 15 trails, 11 glades, 8 trails that have lights for night skiing. We have about 80% of our trails with snowmaking capacity. We have 3 lifts, a triple chair lift, a double chair lift, and a conveyor lift. We have a 400-foot wooden toboggan chute. We have snowshoeing, winter hiking, fat tire mountain biking, and cross-country trails. The Snow Bowl is in the service industry, offering many opportunities for memorable experiences. And to accomplish this, seasonal employees are tasked with selling lift tickets, managing rental equipment, organizing and running a race program, booking and teaching lessons, marketing groups, running chairlifts, building and mapping terrain park features, grooming ski trails, and making 400 plus hours of snow. 500, I'm sorry, 500 hours of snow. During the off-season, employees perform annual equipment maintenance and inspections, including annually obtaining state tramway licensing. Employees also operate the chairlifts for private facility rentals and fall foliage public chairlift rides. Off-season staff market and sell season passes and private rentals for weddings and meetings and etc. Historically, the Snow Bowl has relied on the generosity of volunteers to assist the mountain through the Mountain Steward Program. In addition to public relations, stewards regularly help the lift line crowd management, Days End Mountain Sweep as roving information kiosks and selling toboggan chute tickets in Tobogganville. Stewards also assist with parking, and they can always be counted on to help with special projects and annual events. Ski Patrol plays an important part of the daily operations, and 90% of this season's 44-member roster was comprised of volunteers. They also provide their service off-season for fall chairlift drives and private chairlift rentals. Staffing and departments by budget line. So administration, we have 2 full-time admin for 6 months, 2 part-time admin. The lodge, we have 1 full-time custodian for 5 months and 1 part-time custodian. In the rental shop, we have 3 part-time technicians. Toboggan Nationals, we rely on 5 part-time attendants. And under the Alpine line, we have 5 full-time mountain ops, which are for 5 months. 2 part-time mountain ops, 25 ski school instructors, 4 ski patrollers, 6 alpine race coaches, 5 ticket sellers, 5 terrain park rangers, 2 groomers, 7 lift attendants, 8 snowmakers, and 3 toboggan chute attendants. And make note that the staff positions in yellow are the shared expense with Parks, Recreation, and Cemetery budgets. Volunteers and roles. The Ski Patrol have, well, they have a 44 person roster, but 40 individuals volunteered and donated 2,500 hours this season. Competition coaches were 5 individuals and they donated 270 hours. Ski school had 3 individuals that donated up to or less than 40 hours. The mountain stewards were 32 individuals, donated 2,651 hours on the mountain and donated 97 hours at the toboggan chute, selling toboggan tickets. We had 2 individuals doing social media and photography for us, and they were give or take 40 hours. So the total hours of volunteer donated hours were 8,156. Very important here at the mountain. So for some season highlights this year, we operated for 67 days with only 38 inches of natural snow. The Snowball lost 0 days of operation, 0 hours of staff time due to COVID. The staff was very adaptive this season, and we cross-trained in every department. The Snowball was a popular destination for families looking to be outdoors. Season pass sales exceeded expectations more than any other season, and the Snowball welcomed several dozen of new families and individuals to the mountain. Daily lift ticket, toboggan chute, and fall foliage chairlift rides revenues also exceeded expectations. We made snow within budget despite the mild weather and brief windows of good snowmaking. We hosted more than 40,000 skier visits this year compared to the annual average of 30 to 32,000 visits. Despite the loss of toboggan national revenue, we were able to end the year without a deficit. So for FY22 budget detail and changes, FY22 budget is based on FY20 budget and the actuals for a clearer view of a normal winter. We do have a slight increase in wage lines, and we foresee our general liability insurance going up due to the increased skier visits in FY21. Vehicle maintenance line is increased due to the deferred purchase of a new groomer and the purchase of an ATV side-by-side that will be shared with parks budget. There's an increase in the lift maintenance line due to the triple chair testing requirements this year, and an increase in the rental shop equipment purchase line to allow for more new gear. FY22 planned projects. We are relocating the conveyor surface lift to improve the beginner area. We're developing plans to bring back tubing with the handle toe lift service, and Siemens projects to include improving ski trail lighting, energy efficiency inside lodge, and installation of geothermal heating and cooling systems. And that's that. Let me see if I can stop sharing here. Super cute picture of a couple of our youngest on the mountain. So does anyone have any questions?
I do. Hi, Beth.
Hi.
Hey, thank you for a great presentation both times. I really enjoy when you present. So the Siemens contract, how much is it? What's the impact on your budget? Because I'm trying to understand where the overall thing sits, and maybe I don't understand correctly. Probably I don't understand correctly.
Right. I kind of don't understand, to be honest. So I don't believe it's really doing anything to my operation budget. Jody, if you have any answers, that would be great. But I do not have it budgeted in any operation budget.
That's what I thought. It's a town thing, Jody, right? So
yeah, because it's town-owned land. It will be through the general fund as far as paying back the loan.
Okay, and so there's no impact to the snowball budget at all. Okay,
unless there are some unforeseen things, like just yesterday they're taking the boiler out of the basement and they found asbestos. So I'm gonna have to find a way, some money to pay for that remediation.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And the snowball, I mean, I think the snowball is one of those things that makes Camden, a really incredible place, between the library, the snowball, the harbor. But I am also, what's the kind of 20-year plan for the snowball with climate change and less snow? And so is that something that you guys think about, or who, just can you help me understand?
Yes, we think about it a lot. And it's a national, industry that we're talking about. And obviously we're thinking about how can we be better at the shoulder season, and how can we bring in revenue, maybe mountain biking, or now that we have this 9-mile round the mountain trail that's getting finished here, which is really awesome trail. I don't know if any of you have tried it out yet, but it's really nice and gradual, and really anybody can do it. We saw a ton of people coming out and hiking this, obviously, because they didn't have anything else to do this fall. But, you know, try to figure out ways that we can piggyback on some of these natural areas that we have out here. And, you know, whether that's food and beverage, or whether that's mountain bike rentals, or, you know, we're discussing it quite a bit.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I think you're muted, Nancy. Yes, I did. Oh, still.
Okay, can you hear me? Okay. So I go right along with the idea that the snowball is really one of the prime assets that this town has. One of the reasons why people want to settle here, especially people with children, and one of the reasons why people come here from, well, my son came up with friends from Portland this winter, for instance. People will make a day trip to Camden because of the snowball, especially families. So we want to preserve it at all costs. I know there've been rumors in the past that, oh, maybe we should sell it. Maybe we should sell it to a developer, et cetera, et cetera. No. We have to keep it along with the library and the harbor. But I, you know, going back on, I think it was Sophie's question, is there anybody charged with kind of imagining what it's going to be like in 10 years' time? Is there a group of people who are trying to think that through? It seems to me it would be a great idea to have that kind of committee, maybe ongoing and in place, with people who know what they're talking about, and even people like me who don't know what they're talking about, but are passionately interested in keeping it functioning, because we know that this season seems to have been unusual, but it's not going to be seen as unusual in the future. It may be seen as the start of something constant. And like you, I think the use of the shoulder seasons and the summer seasons is a really important, and it's great to have it for hiking, but it would be great to be able to monetize those seasons a little bit too, to help cover the expenses of, I mean, the Alpine made a tremendous will make a tremendous profit according to the budget projections this year, but nonetheless it's an expensive thing to run and well worth it. But wouldn't it be great? I mean, the other project, I'm rambling now, excuse me, but the other project that keeps coming up is the lodge, you know, and the plans to build a new lodge or resurrect the old lodge or whatever. Is there anybody working on that in any way at all?
Short answer, yes. We have the issue of the cart before the horse right now, because we're putting in the geothermal heating system. And when we were chatting with Siemens, we wanted to make sure that it would be enough for another building in the future. And we were promised that. So, you know, that has started some conversations, and we're talking about that now. Yes.
And what about projecting the snowball 10 years from now or 20 years from now?
There is not an organized group that's doing that, but certainly we have board members that are talking about it quite a bit.
Who's on the board? Do you have a list?
The select board.
The select board. Okay, all right. So there's no snowball board apart from that. Yeah.
Correct. So there's nothing organized, but I agree with you, Nancy. There could be a group that could daydream and you know, think to the future, you know, and help project some, you know, strategic planning.
Yeah. Would it be a good idea to have a snowball board that answers to the select board?
They've talked about that over the years, but I think the board appreciates knowing what's going on at the snowball, and that they don't want to skip that beat possibly. So over the years, there have been different committees, like there's been a Parks and Rec committee that meets and talks about the budget of the snowball, but not necessarily other than that. They had a 4-season committee after the redevelopment, and that lasted for a little while, but they ran out of things they didn't have action items, let's just put it that way. So they ran out of things to talk about and do. So
I have a question. So it's Lorna, hi.
I,
So I was just kind of wondering, how it all like works with, isn't there a volunteer group that kind of got the whole idea of renovating the snowball going, when you did the initial big renovation? And
Yeah.
how does that group interact with the snowball as far as?
So there's the Ragged Mountain Recreation Area Foundation, and that group is basically a group that raises funds as an endowment for the snowball should we ever need, a piece of equipment. We have a bad season and we need to ask, to help with that. They are still currently fundraising for a new lodge. That group of folks would like to see that and finished and completed. And I do know that they have some money that they've tucked away for that. But other than that, they have an annual meeting that I report to, and then I speak to a few of the members throughout the season and ask for grants if there's some piece of equipment that I need or whatever. But that's about how they need to resurrect and get talking to each other soon again.
Okay, so I mean that because they were good. There was going to be a new lodge built, and then it didn't turn out to have. There was financial problems that couldn't happen, right? But there must be some of the funding set aside, and I wonder what the thought was. Where would such a lodge be built, or what was your thought?
They had plans that had gone through the planning board that were already set to go. Obviously, time has passed, and whatever we do, we have to go through that whole process again. But yes, I do know that the foundation is still sitting on monies for a new lodge. And we just haven't had that official conversation with them yet.
But it would be built in another spot, as I recall, right? And it would you'd still keep the old lodge, and but it would be built somewhere else. Where was it going to go? I just trying to remember.
If you were in the parking lot looking at the A-frame, it was going to be to the left where that modular building is.
The original lodge was. Where the original lodge was?
The original lodge was over by the toboggan chute.
Well, not that far over. Bit of a hike from that lodge, but it was. I remember that building very well. It was such a beautiful building with the two great big stone fireplaces at each end of it. Yeah. Sorry, Lorna, I didn't mean to jump in on your conversation.
Not at all. And I also was kind of wondering. I mean, didn't seem like I don't really much of a skier anymore, but it didn't seem like a great year for snow. But yet you did really well. So how did that all happen? How did you guys pull that off?
Well, there were a lot of unknowns. We were down to the minute, even in like late November, early December, not knowing what the governor was going to stick on restrictions for the ski areas. We were, figuring out whether or not we could even open the lodge to the public or not. We had to order porta potties for the season. We quickly built fire pits so that we could have warming areas for folks. We limited people that could come in to buy tickets and get rentals. They had to do in advance. So we adapted major in every department. We had to adapt in order to be COVID safe. We made snow. The snowmakers did a fabulous job with the small windows that we had. And we were lucky, and people that came out, we saw people with gear they probably hadn't been out in 20 years, but it was something for them to do. And they were outside and they were happy. Nobody complained about not being able to come indoors. I just think given the atmosphere that we were in, having an outdoor recreation area to be outside and safe, people came out.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Really great.
And
Hold on, jeez. Okay, sorry.
We're in the same office, so we have to be careful. I was just going to add to what Beth was saying, that a couple of reasons that we've come up with why we've been able to, do so well financially here this year and have a lot of unexpected increases in revenue was we just had so many more people come out for fall chairlift rides, for one thing. Because people, again, wanted just something to do. The toboggan chute, that just exploded over there in terms of the number of tickets we sold. We budgeted, I think, $6,000 in revenue, and we made something like almost 32. I mean, that's incredible. And Stuart, who runs the chute, said that he felt like he did
8 weekends of toboggan.
Yeah, eight weekends of Toboggan Nationals, because the crowds were so big, of people just constantly going down, and just no stops. We sold a lot more season passes this year, $100,000 more dollars worth, which, I mean, that contributed a lot to a lot of the stress here in the office leading up to opening day, in terms of processing all of those. I took in, I think I have a folder with more than 500 new photos of new skiers this year that had to be put onto cards, and then all of those cards had to be printed out. I think we attribute that to people that know the area. They knew that they weren't going to be able to come into the lodge, so they didn't want to spend the time
In a ticket line.
Yeah, in ticket lines, and so they wanted to be able to just get out and go right to the lift, and a season pass allows them to do that. And then lots of new residents coming to the area, talking with other people, finding out that it's a value to have a season pass, in terms of what you would spend in tickets, day tickets. 10, we figure that 10 tickets equals 10 visits, equals the cost of a season pass.
Oh.
So, if you're a family or you're just an individual that's going to be out here, especially for COVID, a season pass makes a lot of sense. And we had people buying season passes, up until ridiculously late in the season. I actually had one man call and wanted to buy it. And I said, I don't really want to sell you a season pass. If you buy enough tickets, I will give you a season pass at this late date, because I don't think you're going to be able to get your 10 in. And then I think just, an increase in day tickets, and again, it was just people wanting to get out. This was the only place to go. We fielded tons of phone calls for sledding, skating, tubing, because people just wanted to be able, they would come in the parking lot and drag sleds over here, and we'd have to turn them away because we can't have the two of them, but just lots of people wanted to go out. So those would be all the some anecdotal, but some real evidence of why we did so well this year. Oh, and then I was also going to say that on the expense side of it, because when the budget was reworked in the summer, to account for loss of revenue from Toboggan Nationals, let's say, and potential losses of revenues, we also were able to, or we ended up running just one shift of staff. And that was partly because of what we had to budget for staff, but it was also because we wanted to, instead of having two shifts changing each day, that was going to increase our exposure for COVID. We were able to really sort of maintain a smaller daily, that contact tracing stuff. So that helped us on the expense side, among just general stuff, but that's a big one right there.
Thanks.
I have a question. I'm glad that you brought up tubing, Holly, because I was wondering if that was, I know we used to have a tubing hill there, and I wasn't sure if that had been sort of talked about at all, to adding it back in.
So on one of my slides, I said that we're moving the conveyor lift. It's in the wrong place, and it gets frozen because there's like water running under it. So we have to relocate that this summer. And because we're relocating it to a better spot, we now have an area where we can bring tubing back.
Just kidding. Sorry, I missed that. I was in Owen's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu class trying to do both at the same time. So thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah,
I'm so excited.
That's the
really
hope.
exciting.
We'll use our Mighty Mite lift that we still held on to from the redevelopment, and we have tubes, and we're gonna work the earth to help so we don't have to make so much snow over there, and that's the plan. So I hope the word will start getting out, because I know a lot of people have been hoping for that for a while.
Would people be bringing their own tubes, or is that something that the Snowball would get and then just give it to them to use for the day? And you buy a
So
ticket and it comes
you basically, when you'll pay for the hour of tubing, and we provide the tubes.
I have two more questions, Beth, or
Sure.
Holly, whoever. I'm sorry, I could go on all day talking about the Snowball, but you mentioned the Round the Mountain Trail. Is there any possibility, if we ever do get a great snow season again, of converting that into cross-country skiing?
Yep, that's the plan.
Yeah,
Yep.
all right, that's great, because I've cross-country down below Hosmer's Pond, down in that area, and it's some really beautiful possibilities down there. The other thing that comes up over and over again with the Snowball, of course, is that for many people, the passes are very expensive. Buying a lift ticket is very expensive. Buying skis is very expensive. And that's where any resistance, why should the town be supporting this elite sport? So I'd love to hear more about your scholarship programs and how it extends in the schools. I know you have I think it's the 6th grade comes up there every year. Fourth.
Grade,
Okay.
yep.
Yeah. But what else do you do?
So we do have a scholarship program that the Snowball itself dedicates a certain amount of funds for, as well as the ski club. And this year, I believe we gave $10,000 worth of scholarships out. That is for if they're asking for a season pass, and this is for youth only, season pass, or whether they want to sign up for a lesson program and learn to ski. And that's mainly what we give out, depending on their ability to ski or snowboard. There's the 4th grade Learn to Ski that we basically subsidize. We do get some help with the ski club. And that we weren't able to run this year. Unfortunately, there were just so many different restrictions on each school district's bus use and field trips. So we're thinking for next year, we're gonna at least invite the 5th graders that didn't get to do it this year to come back for a day at least, and then maybe give them a coupon to come another time on their own. And then we're definitely going to look into having all the 4th grade classes back, as long as there's no COVID restrictions still next season. I'm trying to think, there are free Camden Wednesdays. So if you're a Camden resident, you can come skiing here for free on Wednesdays, which we do see quite a few folks do that. And then there's a 2-hour Camden resident ticket anytime that we're open for $16. Yeah, $16. Yeah, only Camden residents are allowed to do that one.
No Rockport residents then.
That's correct.
Yeah.
We'd love to work with Rockport, but we have never been able to.
I guess the idea with that, with the select board was that, if Camden's going to sort of underwrite all of this, that we needed to have some, special tickets and days in place where Camden residents are able to get a direct benefit. And, like we've said, we would be very open to sort of working with Rockport or, any town that wanted to, come up with some sort of contribution directly to the Snowball so we could offer the same thing to their residents. But you can imagine how many of them are putting their hands up for that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And Camden residents do get a break on season passes during the early bird period. So.
Well, is somebody leading this meeting? I'm not sure.
You are, Nancy.
I didn't ask if anybody wanted to make a motion. I know nothing about parliamentary procedure, but does somebody want to make a motion to accept the budget?
Yeah. Beth, you had your hand up.
Oh, well, I don't want to prolong the meeting. I'm a big supporter. Always have been. From way back. Weddings. I was just kind of curious if the wedding rental, if that's worth it. Do you see people inquiring already? I don't know how challenging it is. I don't know how much things have changed since way back when I was there, and how much of it, if it was worth the.
So pre-COVID, we were booking quite a few weddings, birthday parties, celebration of life, different events. Obviously during COVID, we have not. But Holly has been fielding a few calls for this summer and fall. And we won't know, well, we do know that the building capacity is changing come May 24th, something like that. But we also have had inquiries for outdoor events that can socially distance better. We have a few people interested in doing some concerts out here. So yeah, I think once we're through the whole COVID thing, we'll come back to being quite busy with rentals.
Well, I was just thinking about that long term when we talk about climate change and what other things. I did not know if that was still a good thing that would still could be part of the.
Absolutely. And with that, the idea is that we will have a room that can seat 200 to 250 people.
Oh, that's very good.
Yeah.
I had another question about the Siemens. When are those cost savings going to maybe start affecting the budget, energy savings and things like that?
I think this season, they say that the geothermal will be finished by the end of May.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
we are right now ripping pipes out of the walls and stuff. So they're going
Yeah, I think, geothermal and all the lighting will be done by the end. Is it the end of May for the lighting as well?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's going to be pretty significant.
But you didn't adapt that in the budget. You just didn't we'll kind of wait and see. Or did you make a note? I
did not know how to forecast for that, to be honest.
Also and this is a conversation I'm going to have with the select board, but since the town is financing all of that, I'm thinking that the savings that that normally would be seen in the snowball budget would be passed on to taxpayers, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so yeah, so you'd somehow do it like a cost revenue, like even out. Okay, yeah.
So is that geothermal going to have any effect on the snowmaking costs, which is very, very high?
Just for heating and cooling.
Okay.
But that's a good question, Nancy, because part of what we want Siemens to do for us next is to look at the snowmaking system.
Mm.
Because as we sort of learn more about it, it looks like it was sort of there's a multiple parts to it, and it was designed like different parts were designed by different people, and they don't work together as well as they could. So we're gonna, I think, did they already do that, Beth? Come and look at it while you were making snow this season?
Yes, they did. And we learned a lot about why we lose pressure on the top at the top of the mountain. So yeah, we have a plan for if and when we go with the next phase with Siemens. So
yeah, and that could help really sort of make that much more efficient an operation and more efficient, but also we could potentially make snow in higher temperatures, which would be really important for us.
June skiing.
Yeah, June skiing. Maybe in Montana.
I had another sort of line item question about the Toboggan Nationals. I just saw that it was that FY20, it came in like 10,000 more than you had anticipated or budgeted for, and then you're back to your your old budget. And I didn't know what that expense was, or if it was just a one-time thing, or why it was so much less that year.
Let me get there. Let's see. Okay. So you're asking on the expense side or the revenue side?
The expense side, it just said Toboggan Nationals, 2,331 actuals. And it just kind of stood out to me because it was like quite a bit more than what you had anticipated, what in the budget process had been anticipated, and more than the actuals of the year before.
Yep, I know exactly
what that same figure for this year, the
So-
anticipated figure, so I just was wondering.
We had $9,000, almost $1,000, $10,000 worth of work on the shoot.
Okay,
And that's why it's about $10,000 higher. It was unexpected and we needed to do it before the Nationals. We had to do it that fall.
okay, so that wouldn't be, okay, so that's just, anything on the shoot is kind of goes under that category, not just as like maintenance line or something. Okay.
We don't have a toboggan shoot general maintenance line, which is kind of unfortunate. I think we probably should put one in the Alpine because that's where the wages come out and stuff. But that year, that's where we put it.
Yeah, because that would just make it more transparent, like for people to understand the numbers.
Yeah.
Because of course that has to be maintained.
Yes.
Very important.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Anything else?
I don't think so. Nothing really. Well, your building maintenance line too was kind of lower than your actuals on lodge building maintenance. And I didn't know if that was, I just, we want you to have enough money to do what needed to be done.
So the reason was we put in new carpet and like that year. And we did some new flooring. So that's probably why it was more that year. Those we don't expect those expenses every year. It was a time to have some new carpet.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of your expenses are kind of like that. They're kind of like up and down, kind of hard to predict a little bit.
Yep.
Well, I'm good, thank you.
I'm fine with this. Audra, do we have to have a quorum to vote on this?
No, I mean, you don't even need to vote on this. It's more of just for information. So thank you everybody for coming who did.
It was
Thank you.
great. Thank you, Holly and Beth.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye.
So that's it.
That's it. Thank you,
Thank
everybody.
you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Holly, Beth, Jody, Janice.
Bye.